Yeah, well, hopefully that doesn't happen. But let's talk about other worse or bad things that could happen, like the worst contract signed this offseason. There's always some that turn into, bad deals. There haven't been a whole lot of albatrosses given out this offseason, probably just because not as many teams having capital available. But off the top of my head, I was scratching my fucking head from Kelly Olynyk signing with the Detroit Pistons, and this comes a year after they wasted a contract on Mason Plumlee, and they just got off that. I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
like Kelly Olynyk, he shot pretty well from the three in 27 games last year, 39%. He can space the floor. I'll give him that. But they paid him 3 years and $37 million. That's a lot of money for a guy who's going to add some shooting to your team, but no defense, not enough height for the positions they're probably going to play him at. Are we acting like Kelly Olynyk's a veteran presence now?
I think
Is
that's
that value? Is that factored into this contract?
Yeah, I think that's what they're going for. I mean, I imagine they're going to play him at the four to help spread out the space with Isaiah Stewart as their middleman. But I don't know.
Yeah,
Still the money. Like I think he would have been a good fit for 7 mil, a minimum, mid level.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
this crazy contract though.
Like I won't say Kelly Olynyk doesn't deserve a spot in the NBA. He's obviously a decent enough player, but that's it's a lot of money. Maybe that was the Detroit tax. It was like, hey, if you're gonna sign me, better throw some more millions in. They're all signed less to go back to, wherever, go to Charlotte. I bet Charlotte wanted him. They love their white bigs, so
Yeah, yeah, they're gonna miss out
that
on
would have
Cody.
been a fit made in heaven.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, so just like you, I know you were thinking about, I thought about the 76ers. They didn't make my worst move, but this Andre Drummond signing was like a 1 year minimum deal. I mean, I feel like he could have gotten a little better extra. I think he's just trying to sign with the best team he could sign with at this point, but I think it's a terrible fit. I mean, you can't play him next to Embiid. There's no spacing if you play him next to Embiid, aside from them like hating each other. you know,
Yeah.
It's-
Well, he's definitely going in to be his Embiid's backup, which is what's hilarious, seeing that they had beef only 3 years ago.
yeah.
And
I guess from a 76ers side, you're not paying him much, but I like Andre Drummond. I think there's a role that he can fit in the NBA. It's not a scoring option as much as he thinks it is. It's not a defensive presence, but I think there's a good role somewhere in the NBA for him. Maybe I think he's a good starting center for teams, and it's just, I mean, what he's going to get like 10, 15 minutes a night. And this is the first of him getting out of the league. I think. I don't think this is gonna.
yeah,
go
that's the first sensible take you've had on Andre Drummond, because I think you're oddly high on him, saying that he has a spot in the league as a starting center. There's a reason he's getting paid the minimum, and it's because his mentality is weaker than his game. He tries, like you said, to be the best player on the court and thinks he can score all the time. He just fumbles the ball everywhere because he's got, bowling balls for hands. He can't make his way through the paint. He has the potential to be a starting center in the league. That was a few years ago. Now we're at the point where new guys are going to be coming in the league. Teams are looking at it like, why would we sign you when we just take this other guy who's athletic, got a great attitude, and doesn't think that he's all that? Or I mean, maybe he does, but he's got a bit more promise than you do. Like you said, this is the start for him to fall out of the league. It'd be cool if he can turn it around, but I just don't think you see that for big guys very often. Once they start declining, it's hard for them to come back. I've seen it with JaVale McGee coming back, but I can't think of too many others that became like a solid rotational guy after really, falling out.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of the mid Dwight Howard career, where he was just bouncing from team to team because he thought he was more than he was, and I think it takes him to just buy into one role and be like, you're out there to get rebounds and protect the paint. He can. He can be a good shot blocker. I mean, he averaged 1.5 steals, 1.5 blocks last season. He's able to do it. He just doesn't want to buy into a role. And once he does that, I think he'll find that spot I was talking about. But no, my real worst was this McDermott signing, man. I mean, like, so I guess it depends if it was the right team, but the Spurs signing him to 3 years, $42 million deal. Doug McDermott. Like, he's a wing, right? So what are they going to do with Lonnie Walker, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, Lukas Šamanić, and they just drafted Joshua Primo. Like, you have all these wings that you would like. I mean, they're rebuilding now that DeMar's gone, so I just don't understand this signing. Like, you have tons of wings that you're just not going to play now. Like, I think I'd rather see what Vassell has, Šamanić has, Primo, but I guess
McDermott is more of a forward, so he is bigger than a lot of those guys. So I would say he's got more of a role as they need shooting. So he's gonna get plugged into the rotation, and I mean, I don't know exactly whose minutes he's replacing, but you still need to get good 3-point shooting, and a lot of those other guys you named, I don't really think have shown us a whole lot that they can do that.
Keldon's getting better. Lonnie's struggling from three, but Devin Vassell he's kind of Doug McDermott like. I mean, that's who you drafted. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't see why. I mean, I don't get this. Like 3 years though. Shooting. Like
it's a big contract. It's a big contract.
I could buy in if it was like a 1 or 2 year veteran deal. You know, they're like, all right, we need a veteran in here, but 3 years. I mean, this is what you pay for somebody like someone in your starting lineup, or maybe a 6th or 7th man. Like, I don't see him being that. It just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's a little tough, like you said, for their timeline to be giving out contracts. I would argue they had a worse signing in Zach Collins for 3 years, $22 million. It was less money, but I mean, that guy's barely played, and he's out here getting $22 million.
Yeah, it's just,
from the Spurs. They're supposed to be smart.
Yeah, they're just going off potential. They're like, he is a 4 that could spread the floor. That could be a decent shooter and decent defense, but I don't know. We'll see. Spurs didn't have that great of an offseason. No, not much return like for DeMar either, but it's whatever. They're entering rebuild, and
I'd argue they did great for the return on DeMar. I mean, he didn't have to go somewhere where they could do a sign and trade. I mean, that's how it worked out. But they got 2 second-round picks, a first-round pick, and a starting power forward out of it.
Yeah, I got that's decent return, I guess. I guess I'm just over all this sign and trade where literally anybody can go anywhere now, and it's way too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Open.
This new era we're in. It's gonna get probably even crazier, honestly, before the offseason's over. I feel like.
For sure. All right, so